One holiday is still in our rearview mirror, while the next is approaching faster than a bargain hunter hitting the clearance tables after long lines of Christmas returns.
Welcome to Between the Celebrations, a crosstalk reflection on the time between Christmas and New Year's.
If you were undecided about the person of Christ at Christmas, what will change in the new year?
Are you exhausted from holiday activities?
I guess this is sort of a confusing time of the year.
Relax with Jewish believer Dr. Randy Weiss.
Look, I'm Jewish. As a result, I didn't really carry any childhood Christmas traditions into adulthood.
He's going to help us consider our Christmas past and point us toward the new year with renewed hope.
Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. I guess this is sort of a confusing time of the year. What are we celebrating this week? We're between the celebrations. It's easy to feel lost in the holiday shuffle. We have officially entered the no man's land of time between Christmas and New Year's. It's neither fish nor fowl, sort of like me. I'm a Jewish believer in Jesus. Some Jews think I'm too Christian to be Jewish, while some Christians think I'm too Jewish for the church. Did you ever feel like there was no room at the inn and the manger's getting a little crowded too? Well, in a few days, the manger goes back into storage and the lights get taken down. It's a time for folks to take a deep breath between the celebrations and await the inevitable credit card bills that haunt the end of January like the supercharger ghost of Christmas past. One holiday is still in our rearview mirror, while the next is approaching faster than a bargain hunter hitting the clearance tables after long lines of Christmas returns. Well, I think this calls for a little reflection, so allow me to introduce myself and welcome you to Crosstalk. My name is Randy Weiss, and like I said, I'm a Jewish guy that believes in Jesus. With all of the hectic holiday activities, I hope that Jesus didn't get lost in the shuffle. Let me remind you that Jesus is Lord, and He was such a nice Jewish boy. We just celebrated His birth. It was marked on everyone's calendar, but His return will not be found in your date book. Man's measure of time shifted from BC to AD on the hinge of His birth in Bethlehem. Yet I must ask you this: is it remembered annually, but forgotten daily? Do you celebrate a babe in a manger or the man on a cross? This is a great time to ponder a few sincere questions as we cross this time bridge between the festivals. Once again, our calendars are about to turn from an old year to a new year. But before that clock strikes 12 and everyone cheers, are you really prepared for this new year? If the holiday rush is stealing your peace, take a deep breath and relax with me as we remember a forgotten Christmas Father and a special prayer vigil of Jesus. Perhaps this eclectic mix of insight, challenge, and a reading from the Bible will help us transition from holiday memories to hope for tomorrow. However awkward as this might be, will you permit me to begin with a confession? Do you ever find yourself getting distracted while reading the Bible? I ask because recently it happened to me, and it probably happens more than I care to admit in a public forum. Now, preachers aren't supposed to, be distracted when reading the Bible. But who are we kidding? It happens. The question is why? Well, I guess it can be hard to remain engulfed in a text birthed in a world from which we are thousands of years removed. The literature was written in ancient languages that lose a little luster or clarity in the translations. With the passing of so many centuries, the context seems foreign. Ancient Judaism lived alongside neighboring cultures that are long ago extinct, yet these societies and their residents fill the pages of the Bible. It is their stories that we read, yet their stories often seem distant without a tour guide to bring the story to life when the Holy Spirit seems distant. Now, these are not excuses. They are more like legitimate hurdles to overcome. That is why every good Bible teacher has the responsibility to carry his listener from the modern world back into antiquity. We need to help each reader crank up a time machine and return to that ancient world. That is where the Bible comes alive. But how do we transport ourselves when we travel alone? How do we shift our thoughts back into the first century world of ancient Israel where our Jewish Messiah lived? That is the challenge. Somehow that is what is required to make sense of the Scriptures. But some days, I just get lost in the moment. How about you? Do the current events eclipse the age-old stories as you read the Bible? Does this ever happen to you? It happened to me again on the morning after Christmas. I was doing my Bible study at a local coffee shop when my cell phone rang. Now, I'm not going to kid you. My mind had already been wandering, but the call completely shut down the time machine. I moved directly back into the 21st century and left Jesus in the red ink of my Bible. I made a quick mental note to return to verse 12 and proceeded to allow the interruption to become my primary focus. A few minutes later, when I went back to the text, I was so far removed from the storyline that I was just seeing words on a page. Have you ever been there? Well, if so, in a moment we can drag each other back to the Bible where we belong.